Donald Trump held his first press conference after losing to Joe Biden in the general election. Now, did he use it as an opportunity to finally concede? Of course not. But he did use it as an opportunity to go after his political enemies, whine about Pfizer and their news regarding a vaccine. It was absolute nonsense. But one thing that was very clear is that Donald Trump certainly hates Cuomo from New York, the governor of New York, of course, and likes to, in any way he can, retaliate against his political opponents. So in this next clip, you're gonna hear what he has to say about Pfizer's upcoming coronavirus vaccine and how Trump plans to distribute it. Watch.
As soon as April, the vaccine will be available to the entire general population, with the exception of places like New York State, where for political reasons, the governor decided to say, and I don't think it's good politically, I think it's very bad from a health standpoint, but he wants to take his time on the vaccine. He doesn't trust where the vaccine's coming from. These are coming from the greatest companies anywhere in the world, greatest labs in the world.
So he went on to basically threaten New York by refusing to distribute the vaccine to that state. Now, of course, the important word there was April, which means he won't be president, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what he has to say on that stage. But Ben, I wanted to get your thoughts.
If you could, maybe you could help me. Is he saying that New York isn't getting it because they're refusing it, or they're not getting it because he doesn't like them politically? Because I wasn't sure on that point.
So I think what he was trying to do there was basically accuse Governor Cuomo of spreading fear and disinformation about the vaccine. And as a result, the federal government will not distribute the vaccine to that state. Now, the fact of the matter is Donald Trump politicized every single component of this pandemic. And people, I think understandably, were suspicious about the development of a vaccine because, as we know, Trump was trying to speed it up, get it through.
Warp speed.
And warp speed, exactly. And regardless of whether someone's a Democrat or Republican, obviously when it comes to vaccinations, you wanna make sure it goes through the proper protocol, the proper testing, the proper trials before you take it yourself. And so it's really Trump's fault that his own rhetoric led to widespread distrust toward vaccines or other methods of keeping people safe.
And as you can see, it's like I really just had to pause and ask if I'm hearing this correctly, because what seems like common sense to him is anathema to us. Like, this can't be really what the president of the United States is saying, that because of pettiness, political pettiness, he's willing to risk or at least threaten, right? He won't be here in April, like you said, so really he won't have any impact on that at all. But he's the president of the United States making this type of threat to alienate an entire state that he's supposed to be the president of.
And also, he said places like New York, right? So I think it's very clear that he's trying to make a statement there regarding states that haven't been friendly to him. I wonder if Arizona and Georgia, two states that flipped from red to blue, make it on that list. But anyway, he wasn't the only one who decided to go after Governor Cuomo during this press conference. So let's take a listen to what Alex Azar had to say.
Thank you, Mr. President, for providing the leadership that's gotten us where we are today. The success that Operation Warp Speed has realized so far has been made possible only because of the bold vision you announced not even 6 months ago, right here in the Rose Garden. As I worked with the president to assemble this team and organize this effort, his support was indispensable at each step of the way. We went out and found the very best people on the planet to do the job. This process has been driven solely by science and data. So it's a shame that some, one example being the governor of New York, have actually injected politics into the process and suggested the possibility of intentionally delaying access to an FDA-authorized vaccine, which is simply unconscionable. Thank you, Mr. President, for making that very bright future possible for the American people.
If you look at polling regarding Americans' trust in a vaccine, you'll see over and over again that people are skeptical, they're worried. And it's not because of what Governor Cuomo had to say about it. It's because of Donald Trump's own rhetoric. And again, like, I don't really get why this press conference was utilized as an avenue to attack Governor Cuomo. The people who politicize this pandemic from the start are members of the Trump administration and Trump himself.
Yeah, you notice he has nothing to say unless he's attacking someone. That's why he had to center Cuomo on this. And the thing that really you should have just focused on the science. If the science stands up by itself, then you wouldn't have to create a villain. So that makes me even more nervous. It's like, have these people not seen any zombie movies where it wasn't because of some supernatural thing? It was like a virus, a pathogen that went wrong, and we try to treat it. That's why most of us don't trust it. We've seen this too many times in horror movies.
Right, I mean, Trump's lack of leadership, incompetence, the fact that he discouraged people from wearing masks. He told the Wall Street Journal that he thinks people wear masks to make him look bad, which means that he would prefer people to not wear masks to make him look good, even though it puts their own health at risk by doing that. And also, I mean, if we had done nothing in response to coronavirus, the numbers would be similar to what we're experiencing today. And to be clear, Trump had completely abandoned any type of action toward this pandemic months ago. But after he lost the election, he was pretty much MIA until he held this press conference today. I want to tell you how serious this pandemic has gotten. How serious the numbers have gotten because of Donald Trump's lack of leadership and incompetence. Over the past week, the United States coronavirus outbreak has worsened, with the nation reporting more than 150,000 new infections yesterday, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University. The 7-day average of daily new cases stands at 131,445. That's 32% higher than a week ago. So the country is in a lot of trouble as a result of how this administration has handled the pandemic. And anyone who's critical about their handling of the pandemic is right. And the fact that he's used this press conference to go after Governor Cuomo for criticizing Trump, I think is just absolutely ridiculous. It shows you the kind of person he is. But the good news is Donald Trump will not be in charge in April. The federal government has purchased many doses of the vaccine. They're going to be in charge of distributing it. And so it's important to know that the first in line to take the vaccine, of course, are going to be people who are the most vulnerable to the virus. So elderly people, individuals who have other pre-existing health conditions that put them at greater risk if they contract the virus. Children are last in line. So it's gonna really be put out by a needs basis, and I think that's the right way to do it.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.